Ukraine war. EU set to agree new sanctions on Russian oil sales. The European Commission is preparing a sixth package of sanctions against Russia that includes a possible embargo on buying Russian oil. It comes after a major shift on Monday by Germany, Russia's biggest energy customer, which said it was prepared to back an immediate EU embargo on Russian oil. Green Party leader Eamon Ryan said on Tuesday the sanctions were likely to be agreed by the EU later this week, but the nature of those sanctions was not decided. Mr. Ryan told Newstalk Breakfast Russian President Vladimir Putin was using energy as a weapon, and said, he is looking to divide and conquer. The Minister for the Environment said there would be a doubling down on efforts to switch reliance on oil and gas, and cooperation on switching to renewables so that countries did not rely on Russia. However, Mr. Ryan acknowledged some countries such as Hungary were in difficult circumstances as they were dependent on Russian crude oil. There would have to be measures to transfer and share oil in some cases, he said. We have to ensure that sanctions don't damage Europe more than Russia. Mr. Ryan said he was hopeful that a Europe-wide recession could be avoided, but, if the gas is switched off, some economies would suffer. The minister said that while Ireland was not reliant on Russian oil or gas, an increase in prices would have an impact. When asked about images on Russian state television of a simulated nuclear attack on the UK and Ireland, Mr. Ryan said it was shocking, and that Irish diplomats in Moscow would respond. Two European Union officials said on Monday the EU executive may spare Slovakia and Hungary from the embargo, mindful of the two countries' dependence on Russian crude. Slovakia gets nearly all of its imported crude from Russia, and the country has said it had reserves for 120 days. The Slovakian Economic Ministry said processing of different types of oil was not immediately possible and a switch of technology was difficult financially and time-consuming. Kyiv says Russia's energy exports to Europe are funding the Kremlin war effort with millions of euro every day. This package should include clear steps to block Russia's revenues from energy resources, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his nightly video address. German Economy Minister Robert Habeck said, "We have managed to reach a situation where Germany is able to bear an oil embargo." Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who has been more cautious than other Western leaders in backing Ukraine, has been under growing pressure to take a firmer line. Mr. Scholz vowed sanctions would not be lifted until Russian President Vladimir Putin signs a peace deal with Ukraine that Kyiv can support, he said in an interview with ZDF public television. Weaning Europe off Russian oil is likely to be easier than reducing dependence on Russian natural gas. Moscow has demanded European customers pay for gas in rubles, which the EU rejects. Last week, Moscow cut off supplies to Poland and Bulgaria. EU ministers meeting on Monday warned that complying in full with Moscow's demand for gas payments in rubles would breach existing EU sanctions. Shelling. The northeastern city of Kharkiv was under bombardment, the Ukrainian military said on Tuesday, after the city was shelled 5 times on Monday, injuring 5 people, according to regional governor Oleh Synhubov. Giving an early update on battle front, Ukraine's general staff said its forces were defending the approach to Kharkiv from Izium, a town on the Donets River, some 120 kilometers to the southeast, as the enemy left a trail of destruction in Luhansk province. After being forced to abandon an assault on Kyiv at the end of March, Russia launched a major offensive in eastern Ukraine focused on the Donetsk and Luhansk provinces, parts of which were already held by Russian-backed separatists before the invasion. Russian troops are now trying to encircle a large Ukrainian force there, attacking from 3 directions with massive bombardment along the front. Ukraine's military said on Monday Russian forces were trying to take over the frontline Luhansk province town of Rubizhne and prepare an assault on nearby Syerodonetsk. The heaviest clashes were taking place around Popasna, further south. Shelling was so intense it was not possible to collect bodies, said regional governor Serhiy Gaidai. I don't even want to speak about what's happening with the people living in Popasna, Rubizhne and Novotashkisky right now. These cities simply don't exist anymore. They have completely destroyed them. Russia has also been striking targets far from the front line with missiles. A 14-year-old boy was killed and a 17-year-old girl was wounded in a missile strike in the southern port of Odessa when a missile hit a dormitory, Mr. Zelensky said. Additional reporting Reuters.